Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, no matter where you may be. Welcome to Dark Matter Radio. We really appreciate you being here today. And today we have a special guest. It's my mom. We're talking about what's going on here in the United States. Political stuff going on and all the kinds of things that are happening around. It's great to hear from an elder that's been there and sees what's been happening over the past 80 years or so. Get ready. We got a good one. Welcome to Dark Matter Radio. Make sure you understand that the governments that you're a part of do not care about you at all.
No, they don't. No, they don't. They're killing people like crazy all over the place. Even little babies. They don't care about babies and nothing else. Killing anything and everybody that comes in their way, get in their way. Oh, well, all we can do is pray. That's what I do. Ask God to, they said, though, the world's already been taken over by demonic forces with Halloween and go to spooky houses and all, seeing her girlfriend. And claim that she went over there in that cemetery where Sonny is. I ain't going to even say.
And what happened when they went over there?
Well, she said that she came home and something must have followed her home, some spirit or something in that cemetery, because that cemetery's old,
Yeah.
It was built in the 1700s, and it's a lot of old people who hung people, who killed people and stuff, and got away with it in them days, and they're buried in that cemetery. And she said daughter came home and had nightmares, and she went to sleep, and she woke up and she could actually visualize somebody hanging in a tree or something. I don't know, it was a mess. And she jumped up out of the bed and the thing wouldn't go away and it wouldn't leave her alone and all that. And she said she thinks that whatever it was in that cemetery followed home. I said, you must be kidding. I was sad she ever told me that story. But to me, I have peace when I go there. But I just have this, I know the background of that cemetery, and if you read the various headstones, it tells you famous people that's buried in there and stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I said to myself, gee, that's bad, because now I really hesitate to go there. Even though when I go, I take the dogs with me, and it's a sunny day, and it's very pretty and peaceful and all that. But then the lady next door, I told you some time ago, she said that all the people over in jail have no place to be buried. They take them over there and they make a big hole over by the fence and dump them all in there. They're wrapped up in some kind of plastic. Dump them down in there. It's a terrible situation.
You got to remember
really
something, Mom. That's why I said when people are open, all these portals are opened all over the place now. I mean, you got CERN put up all these different portals and stuff like that, and we got all these different New Age religions and everything like that opening up portals. So when you go there with certain intentions, they're looking at you. These interdimensional beings, low dimensional beings are looking at you.
The thing is, when I go, it's like there's no fear, and I go in there and the dogs run around and I fix his flowers, clean up the place, and there's peace. There's nothing. I have no fear, nothing. It seems like to me it's peaceful.
It is peaceful.
And I clean off this headstone and all that. And it has a nice headstone, the kind that's waterless, and when it rains and all, it shines. The water gets on it and really make it shine and stuff instead of getting all dilapidated and dirty. It's a very expensive headstone. But something like, I guess, the one you bought for your wife some time ago.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I don't know what it is. I just know the history of that cemetery. I don't like Brooksville. Of the experience I had with you being over there and stuff and how they treated you, I just don't like the area. Well, to me, when I go there, I don't have any fear or nothing. And when I do go there, I have peace. The sun is shining. Everything is beautiful. This headstone is shiny and glittering. And the flowers, they don't die. The ones I planted, I see some flowers die and everything. These don't die. They just healthy and everything else. But I just didn't she tell me this thing the other day. And I said, boy, I'm glad she ever told me that, because I don't like going over there anyhow, you know.
Well, you got to put things in perspective, though, Mom. You really have to put things in perspective because you're going over there with the intentions of doing something peaceful. You're not going over there with the intentions of causing any kind of havoc, opening up portals, or trying to. These things are all around the place, everywhere. They're everywhere, and they gravitate. They
doesn't bother me.
Yeah, they gravitate towards people who are looking for trouble.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, they don't gravitate before me. I'm too busy praying to God for help. I go back to when you were young, and I'm telling you, if it wasn't for God, I wouldn't have got through and wouldn't have been able to raise you all. It was the help of God that got me through all that stuff, and I remember that, and I don't forget that God is always here and always with me. So that way, I just get I just think that God is always around me and protecting. So I don't have any fear, but I just don't like going into areas where it could be a negative influence. They said never go around people that has a negative, and I tell you the truth.
Well, don't forget. I'm just gonna say, don't forget the lessons your mother taught you as a Cherokee. You know, God is always with you, within you, and you're more powerful than all these other things. So, as a Cherokee, as a really,
God, I don't know what would have happened to you all years ago.
As a real American Indian,
God that got me,
right? As a real American Indian with that kind of soul, that energy is always going to be with you. Real energy, good energy.
Yeah. Because I said, whatever happens, even with my situation right now, I feel I'll get through it because God will help me. He always has. He's always got me through somehow. And also, I'm sure, and then I'm always able to help other people,
Yeah.
But it comes this time that you got to help yourself before you can help somebody else. That's what my father, it keeps ringing in my head, Just hold on and you'll be fine. And I feel that I really will be. But there's some scary times for me.
It is, but you got to remember again, your father being an indigenous Panamanian, coming out of Panama, well, they were actually chased out of Panama, basically, with all that fighting going on. He couldn't live down there, but he always said, always take care of you, then you can take care of others.
That's what he said.
It's a family principle.
I remember him always saying that. That's right. He really said that. Well, anyhow, all I know is that just stay close to God and pray. Ask God to look after you, direct you in the way that you should go. And I'm sure He opens up things so you can see which way you should be going, which He's doing for me right now. He's opening up ways that I can maneuver through all this and get out of it, get through it.
Well, I'll tell you one thing.
I know that I will.
I'll tell you one thing. Everybody may be watching how they open up these borders and letting all these foreigners in here.
That's dangerous. That's a dangerous situation. And they showed in New York, they showed in Chicago, they showed where else? All over the place. They're everywhere. I mean, millions of them, all in the streets and all. And then they said they had a thing where they would open up an opportunity for them to work. And they had these offices where they should come in. And they never came in. They don't want to work. They never came in there. They're too busy getting on Social Security, while everybody else can't get on Social Security, and they deserve it because they worked to earn it. They're giving these people the money that belongs to the Americans who've worked all their life, and then taking this money and giving it to these people, and say, I don't know what's going on. But you know what I said? I'm not going to worry about it because no need of getting yourself sick over this stuff.
Yep.
But it's not right. What's going on? I was against it. As soon as I saw all these people at the border, I said, what's going on here? What's wrong with the government? Then they ask you to give them money. And what are they doing with the money? You give them money so they can run for office. What are they doing with the money? They run for office and they probably take what you gave them and make more money from getting into the certain areas of offices and stuff. I don't know. It's a mess, and I'm scared to even drive that car or go someplace because some people resent you having a car. They don't want you to have nothing, and they yell at you and everything else, even though they don't yell at me because I keep the windows closed and pray to God I get to the store and get back or wherever I'm going, So thank God so far I haven't had any problems, but I never seen so many houses being built in my life. Every corner where there's a vacant lot, open ground where there used to be farmland, it's all being built. When you come in here, you'll see everything's changed. You think you're living in New York. So much traffic, you can't hardly get around, and they're raising everybody's taxes and making the water bills, electric bills have gone up. I mean, what do they think this is? Everything's gone up.
And that's in Florida. People think Florida is safe, and I told you, it's going to get to a point where you can't even live in Florida anymore because of all the building that they're doing.
It's very bad. Where was I? I was over by the courthouse or someplace. I had to go down, and when I looked around, did I go over there where I buy the dog food or something? I had to get the dog food something. And I looked at this area, and they were building houses over there. I said, they're building houses over here too. Every place it's right off from Deltona. I know where that. Right off from Deltona, I think. There's a big area there. They're building houses there too. Over by the high school there, or where's that, Linden or whatever?
Yep, Linden. Yep.
Right across the street, and that whole vacant area over there where they got a lot of apartment houses. A little further down, coming toward the area, I don't know what that would be called, right in the front, right across from the high school over there. A little further down on the left-hand side, nothing but a big thing. They've cleared all the land and they're building houses.
And that's why when I was running for office, I told people, be careful when you get in here because they're going to sell you right down the drain with all these builders and destroy your whole entire way of life.
I'm learning myself. I learned from them windows and stuff. You don't take nobody at face value. You have to be very careful what you do and what you're signing. Because they come in, they do a mopped up job and leave. It's a shame, but I will admit the front door there with the new glass panel and stuff.
Yeah.
Over the door, they did a good job with that. But these windows, that was another company. These windows they put in here is really shameful. But I will say they're tight because no bugs are in the house. None.
Well, that's good.
That's why I got windows too, because I was scared about the bugs coming through the crevices and stuff. But there are no bugs in this place.
Well, I always say that Spring Hill is one of the most beautiful areas in Florida. When you moved down there were still bears and stuff like that running around. Now,
that's right.
I mean, it's changed unbelievably. It's unrecognizable.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
You had a big forest in the back of your house.
What they're doing is building real houses close together. You can look in each other's windows now because, they make it so you don't have a little half an acre or whatever. They make the houses so close so they can build much more of them and make more money. See, the closer, the less property on where your house is, the more houses they can put on that area, So I don't know how much of an acre. It's not even a half an acre around here. But where we are right now, you won't get this kind of property again because you're not they're not building these houses like a little further away from each other. This is kind of close to me. But they're not even building it this close this far away anymore. They're building it really close, where you can actually open your window and look into the next person's house.
It's terrible.
That's how close the property is. Yeah, it's terrible. It's a terrible situation.
Well, and you got to think, with all this economic devastation going on here in the United States, all this inflation, and nobody can afford anything. Then you got to say, well, who are they building these houses for?
I don't know, maybe for these immigrants who's coming in here. But where they getting the money to, the banks give them all kinds of leeway. They don't give anybody else the leeway. They give the banks. The banks are something else.
Yeah, they sure are.
So, they don't give nobody no help but what do you call it? Foreigners. So, it's just, you just pray and do the best you can.
Well, now you understand why when somebody says, when they're asking me, especially when we're at the family reunion, the barbecue down there. You know, what is your politics? I tell them my politics is the right of return. I believe that we need to be able to return back into the system upon which we came out of, so that we can sidestep all this other garbage that's going on. But we got to protect. We got to protect ourselves and make sure that you know, we aren't held up for experimentation and all this other type of stuff and thrown out of the communities that we naturally belong in.
That's right. And I heard a lot. There's a couple of what do you call communities now that they're getting to get into. You know, some people are getting organized, getting these co-communities that you talked about.
Yep.
There are existing communities like this now, and hopefully that it'll be more so you can become independent of the system, because it's very bad, not good at all. But anyhow, what are you going to do? Nothing.
No, but as long as people are having a co-creation mindset and living in co-creation communities, even if it's not like right next door to you, you can share resources and you know, get things that you normally wouldn't be able to get from a store. And the more people depend on themselves, the less they depend on stuff from China and everywhere else, and the more they could be a little bit more independent.
That's right.
Because this government is going to do nothing to take care of it.
It's lousy. It's really a shame. I lost respect when they started letting all those immigrants in here. Because, you know, you go to certain areas, you see people sleeping in the street. These are the people who should be trying to help. These are the Americans that need help. But all these people, and they have a nerve to get on the television or whatever and say, we want a better life. Well, everybody does. But I think the Americans who live here should be first. And then when they, you know, finish helping all the people who needs help here, then turn to the outsiders. They're not doing that. Millions of people being let into through the borders.
8 million so far.
Not thousands, millions.
Yeah.
It's a shame.
Well, like I told you, Mom, there's a lot of people running around there without souls, and they can get hijacked by all kinds of things that are out there, and you just got to be careful of it.
Because that's right. You connect you know, you're around these people, and I don't know, something picks up into your own situation. They try to infiltrate your soul or something. I don't know what they're trying to do. They ain't gonna infiltrate mine. I just stay away from this stuff, because it gets me very depressed and very sad for them, you know?
Yep.
But then I say to myself, they're looking for it. They're asking for it.
Yep.
Why go around and then search yourself into all this stuff, and it's not necessary? It seems like they enjoy doing it.
The next thing you know, something done jumped on you, and you got to spend your time trying to get rid of it.
You ain't lying. I ain't going to deal with it. I don't want to deal with that stuff. That's really true. She says, what I'm going to say. I said, I'll call you. Not me. You can forget it. Oh, well.
I'll keep calling you again. I'll get down there as soon as I can. I just got to straighten out all this other stuff.
I wish you would.
I'll get down there.
That would be nice. That sounds good. All righty.
All right.
You take care and finish having a blessed day. That's all I can say.
All right. I love you, Mom.
Okay. God bless. Love you.
All right.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Well, there you have it, folks. That's from an elder in the community, my very own mother. She's, you know, she was a staunch Democrat there for a while. Staunch Democrat. Still talks about the Democrats. Very heartbroken about what's going on in this society. And, you know, it's really, really amazing to me how when people begin to start understanding and waking up about what's going on, how they begin to start changing. I mean, you know, a lot of people's are eyed wide shut, as that movie would say. And when their eyes really, you know, when their mind starts to be able to see through their eyes that are wide open, the minds aren't shut anymore. And, you know, when you have 8 million people coming in through the border, it's hard not to see all the things that they're doing. And the harder, the difficulty of it is here in America and in Canada. Mexico really doesn't have the problem, because you got to think about Mexico. What's happening is that they have one of the most strictest immigration policies in the world. They don't let nobody through their border. So all the people that they're letting through their borders has already been promised to come into the United States. That's the only thing that I can think of. That's into the United States, or being able to have free passage into Canada. And, here, what I would call, the North American territories, the Aboriginal indigenous beings are having a difficult time. They're having a really difficult time because they're being pushed out of their neighborhoods. They're being pushed out of their schools. They're being pushed out of the jobs are hard to come by to begin with, but they're being pushed out of all these things. And they're using a select few of people, saying that there's such full of crime written and all that other type stuff that the system has actually created, right? I said in another show that Louis Farrakhan had years ago brought out that a guy had wrote a book on how the CIA, FBI, in the American government were doing experimentations chemically on the mindset of black males to see how violent that they could become amongst each other. And then they throw them back out into the world and watch them shoot each other up. It's a game for them. It's a game for me. You can't trust this government for nothing. You can't trust any government. I mean, you look at, the government in Canada. You look at, where I live up there in Canada. And up here in Canada, what happens also is that you get, the Trudeau factor. This guy, he just blatantly doesn't care about their citizens whatsoever. And this is the reason why, I said when you talk about these governments, whether it's Britain, whether it's even Israel, Hamas, the Palestinians, the governments, the United States, the governments. When you look at these governments, Ukraine, you look at these governments, they don't care about their people whatsoever. What government in their right mind would throw millions of people in the way of war to have them killed for the atrocities that they were doing? Right? And that's why I said, you have a world triad. It's not the New World Order yet now. They're trying to put the New World Order in there. They want people to have the New World Order in their governments. And a lot of these governments around the world are fighting back. Not to say that they're better than what we already have, but they don't want their vaccines. They don't want their mRNA flowing around their system, their synthetic stuff. They don't want food that's going to kill their people. Do you know the United States has more food banned in more countries than any other country probably on the face of the planet? There's some places on the planet that won't allow American Pop-Tarts to be sold in their country. Right? I mean, I'm shocked at the way that they do the chickens when you buy chickens out of the store. Right? Those chickens go through a factory and then they get processed alive. And they got all kinds of fecal matter and pee and stuff like that all over them. So what happens is that they got to get washed. And what do they get washed in? They get washed in what the FDA said was equivalent to a dirty toilet. And then they get washed in chlorine that's almost 100 times stronger than the chlorine that you have in your showers or in your water. And you can imagine the kind of health problems that this is creating for people, 10, 20 years down the line. That they won't be able to track onto their chickens. It's absolutely amazing to me, when I hear our elders talk and how they speak, about the wisdom that they've known, because they've been through a lot. They've seen all the stuff that was going on. They've been there. I'll have more elders on as well. Excuse me, but I just thought it was really important for people to hear from my mom, down there in Florida and what they're going through down there. Right? It's sickening. It's sickening. And this is the reason why, when you're looking at this on YouTube, in the background, you are seeing the society upon which you came from. Whether it's melted castles, melted buildings, whether it's devastating images of World War I or World War II and how they were destroying all of the old buildings that were here before they even came. Whether it's pictures of the Civil War and how they just totally obliterated stuff from the sky. I mean, bombs. I mean, this is you're looking at all different types of star forts, factories, beautiful things that we, the indigenous people of the world, have built, and even of the Americas, right, have built. And, when you begin to start thinking about, again, the orphan trains, you begin to start thinking about incubator babies. Cooley Island must have had something going on over there, because they had a lot of that stuff going on over there. Incubator babies, when they had all their World's Fairs going on. They had it in Chicago, St. Louis. They had them in Detroit. They had them over there in Boston. Even down there in Alabama and a lot of other different places. Every World's Fair that they had. And then, you know what they did at the World's Fair? They said that it took them about maybe a year and a half or whatever to build all these buildings, and then they just knocked them all down. And these are the pictures that you're seeing right now. This is the system that is right now destroying the area over there in Palestine. Just destroying it. Wiping them out. Now, I'm not going to get into what the causes are, but for them to be able to go over there and just obliterate a whole entire area without conscience, or having another section of people this fly missiles on top of other people that's not even involved in your conflict. And when you take a look at the war over there in Ukraine, I mean, they're saying that they're taking over these villages, they're taking over these cities, they're taking over this, they're taking over that. When you take a look at what they're taking over devastation. And it's the same kind of devastation that you're seeing and looking at the Civil War, Revolutionary War. It makes you think, what type of ammunition were these people really using? What type of warfare were these people really using? The government doesn't care about any being on the face of this planet. And if you don't know where you came from, how you got here, whether if you were an incubator baby or if you were part of the orphan trains and God only knows where all the orphans came from, you can't understand how they feel about you just being cannon fodder. They hate the Aboriginal people here in the Americas. They hate them because they are the people that were the originators of civilization. And I know I'll get a lot of backlash from that and everything like that, but there's a lot of reasons why I say those kinds of things, and this is the reason why we have the people on that we're having. We talk about the white papers, the right of return, the different types of doctrines that we have to come up with. So I'm glad that you're here today. This is Dark Matter Radio, Audrey McLean. You just heard from my mom, and it was a really good conversation. I'll probably be back down there in Florida not too long from now, but there's a lot of places left to go around the country to say hi to people, and I just want to make sure that you out there are actually doing exactly what she had recommended people to do and follow the co-creation mindset. Co-creation communities, people are developing them. They're sprouting up all over the place. And now you can see why. Most of your food is poison. And if you don't have access to good food and good water, you're just going to be dying from within. So I really do appreciate you. And I appreciate everyone who's supporting the Patreon, $1 a month. I appreciate that. Right? Keeps Dark Matter Radio going, keeps us being able to travel and do the things that we need to do. Right? And we're able to give out good information in return. I appreciate every single one of you that are in Coosa Nation and all these other nations that are associated with us now and associated with the Great Grand Council. I really appreciate the returning of the governmental structure upon which we came out of, and that is restructuring itself. I appreciate every single one of the indigenous people of the Americas and all of those that are supporting. I appreciate every single being on the planet. So fill yourself with love. goodness, and I shall talk to you soon. Great Grand Rising. This is Ronnie McLean, A New Thunder, for Dark Matter Radio. On a day that it's really showing that we need love in our hearts. We need all kinds of things that are going to make us very happy from within as we return back to who we are.